What's up, Livestream? We will be ready shortly. Everyone else is hanging out outside, but we will see y'all soon.
This does not look great.
So we've got a half-eaten strawberry jam. That's not exactly COVID friendly.
Mr. Boston, dude. Well, we had to camp out here like an hour before. That's fun.
All right. Thanks for coming, y'all. I'm so glad to have you guys with us, and thank you to those who have joined in online. It's not letting me see you guys right now, but we had a couple people earlier. Real quick, we're going to go through a couple of announcements, and then we will get into some games. Maybe. Computer wants to work. There we go. First off, if you don't follow us already, we are on Instagram. Check us out. We'll do some giveaways on there every once in a while, but it's by far the best way, along with band, to stay in the know. So check us out on there. Also, we have D groups. Those are back up and running. Middle school girls meets Wednesday nights at 6:30 at the Proctors down on Yardley Loop. High school girls also is meeting at 6:30 at our place in Jamestown, 1607. High school guys are meeting out at the Smoley, so for you Toano folks, that's a pretty easy trek to make. And we're meeting out there at 7 because I got to get from Jamestown to Toano from 6:30 to 7. So, and then middle school guys, we meet at my place again in 1607 on Fridays at 6:30. Worship team is still something we are working on, but we have realized real quick it is not going to be easy to pull off while we are in the sanctuary without the proper tech to do it. But once we are back in the youth room and don't have to be spread all across creation, we will be starting that. So let us know if that's something you're still interested in. Talk to Rachel. But as of now, we are going to have to put that on hold because we don't have our own amps and stuff like that. And I'm not breaking Isaiah's stuff. So, yeah. Big news. It looks like we're going to RYM. A lot of you have already filled out your interest form. We had 14 people tell us that they want to go to RYM. So, hopefully this July, early August, I think it's July 30th through August 3rd, we will be going to RYM, fingers crossed, as long as everything works out and everything doesn't get shut down again and all that kind of stuff. But as of now, we will be going to RYM. And lastly, we've gotten some feedback on interest in the Kenya trip. Still very much in the works, but hopefully we will be doing that sometime in the winter. That date is to be determined, but we're hoping to take a high school team and some adults from the church to Kenya to help build a school for the Wata people, which are a Muslim people group. In this particular village, nobody there has heard the gospel. It's an 100% Muslim village, so it's an awesome opportunity for us to hopefully serve and be a part of God working throughout the nations. And with that, we will get into our first game. But do you guys got any questions about any of the announcements? Yes, no, maybe? Sweet. If you got any questions, let us know. But with that, we're going to play rock, paper, scissors. But you guys get to play against the computer. So you will hear a spinning noise. I I will say rock, paper, scissors. Don't cheat. So I'll go rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You will shoot. The last person standing wins. So all you have to do is either tie or beat the computer. So like if the computer throws rock, or let's see what it spins real quick. So, whoops. Helps. There it goes. So I'll say rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Also helps when I don't mute the computer, huh? Smooth. Gotta love. And so when it stops, I'll say rock, paper, scissors, shoot. When you guys throw, I'll stop it. If you threw, so is there anyone here who doesn't know how to play rock, paper, scissors? Good, Ben, okay. Apparently Ben's never played rock, paper, scissors. I'm not buying it, but whatever. Rock beats scissors, paper beats rock, scissors beat paper, because scissors cut paper. You can smash scissors with a rock, and apparently if you cover up a rock, that beats a rock. I'm not buying that one personally, but apparently that's how the game's worked since I was a kid. So with that, stand up, and you guys are taking on the computer. Last person standing wins and will get a prize of their choice.
I like that there's a chance that we all lose.
Same. Then I don't have to give stuff away. No. Oh, before we get started, since I think everyone who won prizes is here, Ben won the Super Bowl football quiz, as well as the third and fourth quarter pool, which was complete luck. Okay, Ben did win, but he also only scored like 50% on the quiz. The lowest score was a 7 out of 40. So, Ben, this stack of gift cards is yours. Chick-fil-A, Amazon, and Starbucks. He won all of them. He got lucky nobody scored in the fourth quarter. Ellie Waters, you won this book in the football pool, so this is yours. That went far. I'm impressed. Yes, it did go farther than I thought. Mr. Chuck, we should never call me Mr. Chuck. And for what it's worth, Dylan won the pizza and he already cashed in on that. So, and he picked Little Charlie, so he's got good taste. Not just because I share a name with the pizza shop. All right, so rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Last person standing will get to pick their prize. And we'll be giving out some books by the guys at RYM, so you'll get to pick which book you want. We'll be giving those out throughout the night. Online, let us know how many times you beat the computer. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Scissors. Did anybody lose? Oh, wow. Fair enough. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I've never gotten that before.
You can add different items. Maybe it's like radioactive.
This worked earlier. That's the issue.
We're adding pieces to that.
What if I just yell out?
Nah, this thing will work pretty quick.
I'll say 3, 2, oh wait, rock, paper, scissors.
There it is. Yes, all three are working again, so. When Charlie has to learn coding on the fly. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Maybe. There it goes. Paper. Who's still in? And then there was 3. You can't win a book. All right, Rachel's uber competitive. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Did you lose? Everyone survived. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh my gosh.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Please, somebody lose. All right, so you'll get to pick between a book, but apparently you're playing against Rachel to see who's the last one standing.
Oh, I get to pick a book?
You will get to pick a book.
Can I pick a book? Wait,
Can I? You can do whatever what you want with it after you pick it. But rock, paper, scissors, shoot. And Rachel won, which this is cool. All right, we have a student's guide to technology, a student's guide to sanctification, a student's guide to anxiety or insecure. Which book? If you don't have any preference, I'll just throw one randomly at you. No promises. I won't say you in the head.
Which one did he get?
He got technology. All right. Jamie, did you bring the bingo cards up? All right, Jamie is going to pass out bingo cards. Rachel is going to pass out pens. Is there anybody, and I mean anybody, who has not played bingo before? Seriously? All right. Well, I thought you guys knew how it went, but if you don't, if you get 5 in a row, you get to yell bingo.
What about 5 vertical?
5 in a row. This way, this way, this way. Doesn't matter. It's just got to be 5. And we'll give away, and we have some more books to give away on this one. So it's good stuff. It's by the guys at RYM. You know it's not going to be bad.
That's why I'm being enthusiastic.
You sounded sarcastic, Ben.
I can be more sarcastic.
Oh, trust me, I'm well aware you could be more sarcastic.
Ooh, reading. Yay. That's sarcasm. The other one was just died down enthusiasm. The other one was more subtle sarcasm.
All right. So whatever pops up on the screen is what it will be. I-29. I-29.
Any 29 or is it only 29 in I?
It's only if it's a 29 in I. I thought you knew how this works.
I never played this game.
I mean, let's put it this way. The number only will show up. If it says I-29, it should only show up in I anyway. That's how the cards are set. So, yeah. B12. B12. N32. N32. What did I step on? Hopefully nothing important. Oh, 65. Oh, 65. No. This is not Price is Right. Closest without going over does not give you anything.
Play Price is Right.
I can come up with a Price is Right night. get creative. N41. N41. N33. Oh, that's unfortunate. Blame Jamie, she gave you the card.
I've got 3. One of them is a free space, but still have 3.
I know, mine is Ruth then. I have a single one.
I-27. I-27. What? You still have nothing? Well, again, blame Jamie. She gave you the card.
No, we didn't.
Oh, 72. Oh, 72.
She got one. No.
She's on the scoreboard, I think. She already won a book. She doesn't even know. N40. N40. What? No, the way free space works is it's the middle one that says free space.
I know, but if I didn't have free space, that was my N40.
Okay. No idea how you know that, but.
I'm just gonna write 40 in that little box.
Oh. 71.
How did you guess that?
Because it tells me before it pops up there. It is not cheating. I'm not playing. If I was playing, then it's cheating because I could go, I don't have that, and then change it.
There's a whole system going on where they're trying to get one. Wait, Rachel's playing, right? Wait, so maybe this is wow.
Rachel has the technology skills of like an 80-year-old grandma. There's no way she knows what's coming up.
An 8-year-old grandma.
Do you want to explain how bad you are at technology? True. You could just come up here. One is Rachel's computer. It has her notes for the talk tonight. Yes, Rachel has the talk tonight. Somebody did not read his emails or Instagram or band. Oh, 61. You did show up. And 36. So I can't read the number, but I have the colors memorized. That's the issue. I can't read the numbers on it, but I know each color. Has nobody done bingo yet?
Bingo is not like fascinating.
B7.
I need 2 left.
Bingo is not for the impatient.
Come on, give me the 49.
I-21.
Yay!
I'm getting all the ones I don't need. I'm there.
Oh, all I need is come on.
Oh, 63. Oh, 63.
Did Rachel get 063?
Oh, 69. Oh, 69. I-18. Ben, if I was rigging these games, you wouldn't have won 3 of them a couple weeks ago.
That's why it is racing. Now you're not letting me win anything.
I-19. Not my problem. Blame Jamie. She gave you the card. B3. B3.
Keep on getting matches of 3.
Somebody will win eventually. Hopefully. G46.
Oh, wait. Pull out the B10, got that?
Someone please win. G 57. Oh, 73. G 51. I 18. I'm sorry you guys are taking forever to get bingo and it's starting to recycle them. N 44. This is unreal. O 74. B 15. Bingo? All right, we finally got one. Yes, anxiety, sanctification, or insecurity. Or you can just come up and pick one if you don't want everyone to know what you picked. Or I just throw one at you. All right, here you go. Michael Hall throws books out at RYM every year. At youth leader training, Michael Hall throws books out every year. Have they done that at camp too? They've done it at leader training, but all right. Online viewers, you can join in on this one. Is there anybody who doesn't have a cell phone in here? Oh boy. So if you want it, yes, if they can show you the emojis, they don't have to text it to you. But if you're online, you would have to text it to Jamie because there's no way you can just run it, stick a phone in. Yes. So the way this game works, the first person to text and or run over and stick the emojis in Jamie's face, or text the phone number, which is Jamie's, on the screen, will win. You can also just text Jamie for fun. But so wherever you can find emojis, good luck. Whoever gets it first will get to pick between anxiety and insecurity. All right, an A bronze medal, whatever flag that is, a honey pot. It has to be in that order. So an A with a circle around it, a bronze medal, a national flag that is blue and red and has a crown in it, a honey pot, and a fireman. Whoever finds it and or runs and shows Jamie it first wins. Please let Jamie know it's you. Otherwise, there's no way of us knowing. Are you recording something?
No. He's zooming in and taking a picture.
That will not count. It was smart, but I make the rules. And it said text or show Jamie the emojis. You didn't find the emojis.
Hello, Chuck. Mr. Chuck. When was this made? And has it been updated recently?
What? If you bring up an A with a box, we will count it.
What?
Because that flag is not going to be a circle either. It's going to be a flag.
Just an A with a box.
If If you find the orangish, yellowish A, you win. You cannot, if you draw a perfect, I'll let Jamie be the judge on that. Honey pot, yes. If they're perfect renderings of the drawing, I will take it. Yeah, that's fair. Yes. That is not close enough. Those are
These are pretty good.
I'm going to say Elizabeth is the best.
All right, since you people are taking, wait, let
Yeah,
me
you
check
took
my
too
phone.
long. What? Yeah. Did anyone text yours?
No one has texted.
No idea.
All right, Elizabeth, you get the point.
That's why I said the red and blue one with a crown. Elizabeth, here you go. You get anxiety. Which is fitting considering I'm throwing a book at you. Like I said, it was appropriate. All right, for this next game, I will need brave souls. I need 3 volunteers. There's no prizes except the joy of being the champ.
I just want
I'll
people
go with
who are volunteering.
that would be good. You know what?
Elizabeth, you're braver than most.
Cheesy jalopy.
Bryce, come on up.
I mean,
Do we have enough bread?
you can find this,
John,
and
are you raising your hand saying you want to eat potentially gross sandwiches? Riley's already up here.
Oh, that looks delicious.
1, 2, 3.
No, you don't get to share in the food now.
It looks disgusting on YouTube.
So, how this game works, you will spin the put it on a sandwich number wheel. Whatever number it lands on is the number of items you will need to spin, or the number of times you'll have to spin the ingredient wheel. So you can get anything from 1 through 5. If you get 5, we will spin the ingredient wheel 5 times. My lovely wife Rachel will then make you a sandwich with those ingredients. So for example, you can get tuna, potato chips, jalapeno cheddar, Chick-fil-A sauce, and ranch.
That'd be good.
And you would have to eat it. Or pickles, chocolate whipped cream, jam, apple, and cheese stick. You don't know what you're gonna get, but you'll have to eat it.
A mixed blessing.
Jamie, can I ask you to run a stopwatch for us? Because whoever takes the longest from once the sandwich is, or whoever is the quickest to eat their sandwich from when it is made is the winner. There's one over there.
And over there.
Yes, if you have any issues, first off, if you have food allergies, please do not. We can find other candidates.
Can you do the whole thing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you get one bite down, I'll be very impressed. But yes, the goal, to win the game, you gotta eat the whole thing.
What if nobody else?
Or if you don't want it, you just take one bite.
Yeah. If you don't care about beating these guys, although it would be
If
great
you
watching
have
them lose to you guys.
pickles, some of that jam, some ranch.
So you got the stopwatch ready, Jamie?
Sauce and then some ham.
All right, so who wants to go first? All right, Bryce is the brave one. Yes, 3 people.
then we need a third.
Oh, Elizabeth, you're out? Bummer. All right. I think Kylie's got this, just saying. You took on the flapjacks the other week.
This is
All right, Wes, you're up. Leave it to the Bear Boys too.
Brother battle. I'm known for my
Riley, on the live stream, all we can see is your midsection. Do not block the camera. They still only see your midsection. I think we're better. All right, so who was the one who said they were going first? All right.
If I get a nice simple sandwich.
Leslie, you go second. I don't need advantage of watching
It's a 3. So he will need to eat the 3 ingredients that come up when we spin. No, I coded it so it's 1 through 5. The best you can get is 1.
I kind of am hoping for the apple.
Oh, the instructions are still up. That's awkward.
Jelly.
Jelly!
Ooh, not bad so far.
Not the worst start.
Ew, too.
I'm intrigued.
Ooh, peanut
Peanut butter. So far it's peanut butter and jelly.
I got so far the best. Next thing I need is some lettuce.
And tuna fish. A peanut butter and jelly and tuna fish sandwich.
As much as you can.
It is a flavored tuna.
I didn't actually get a bad sandwich.
Not using all the tuna in case somebody else.
No, do not use all the tuna just in case somebody else needs to eat it. I was hoping for.
I was kind of hoping I would look out and get the apple.
I'm sorry, it's a stopwatch, right? Not a
Does he go first and then, or does everybody get their sandwich?
He goes first. They will know the time to beat. So when I say go, you start and just run a clock. They gotta try to eat it all. Good, they can see Bryce. Wes, you're on camera and blocking Bryce.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Go.
Make sure you pause
Yes, please.
before you put more in your mouth.
No, he keeps going. It's just so you're not just giving him. Yeah. We could spin the wheel for the next one. Not the worst idea. We'll pause the music and keep spinning. Who's next?
Okay, so that was 29 seconds and what, 2 bites? 1 bite? I'll give you 2. That's it. Yeah.
He got 2 bites in 29 seconds before taking the L. All right.
Do you need water?
Who's up? 5. You gotta eat 5. You don't get to pick. That got dark. Potato chip.
Are you allowed to disassemble your thing?
Yeah.
Chuck, are you allowed to disassemble your...
No, you got it's a sandwich. Sandwich that requires 2 pieces of bread together. That's like the definition of a sandwich. Look at the picture. 2 pieces of bread, one on top, one on bottom, everything in the middle. You can't pick it apart and eat each thing individually.
No,
That's a buffet, not a sandwich. Jeez. It didn't spin very well. We'll try again. Pickles. It is not rigged.
No, there's button or bread and butter.
Turkey.
What is this? Okay, how would you guys put whipped cream on top of it? This is like a solid afternoon sandwich. How about we just put all whipped cream? We're gonna get ham and lettuce next.
How many things has he gotten so far? 3? All right, this is his last one. So far we have turkey, cheese, chips, pickles. And this is it. This is the big one. Chocolate whipped cream. It is chocolate whipped cream. Lay it on him.
A lot of it, please.
That's good.
One more.
Mr. Chuck, can I suggest something?
What?
Instead of us just watching you eat a sandwich for however long it takes, can we go ahead and make Riley's sandwich and have them both eat at the same time?
Yes.
All right. And they got to do better than 2 bites in 29 seconds. Sounds good.
Because, like, assuming it takes them like 5 minutes to eat a sandwich and eat it separately, that's already 10 minutes.
We can also do. We also can do another emoji hunt in that time, and we will disqualify drawings.
Leslie? No.
Or I can just pull up a random game.
All right, who's sandwich?
Okay, Riley, you're next.
Riley, you're next.
See what you get, Riley. Hopefully something disgusting.
So I think a video of this will do.
I'll give that the nicest way, Riley. I just want to watch.
I'll take
4. You gotta put 4 things on it. So
I'm rooting for peanut butter, chocolate with cream, chips, and jelly.
I don't have it. I don't have the algorithm.
it can. I can also override, but it can.
Holly, I am food this time.
Jalapeno cheddar.
Good. I like it so far.
No, I wiped
I
it
have to
off.
bring that. Did you bring a panini press? Because then we can.
Dude, Chick-fil-A sauce is getting better.
Jalapeno cheddar, Chick-fil-A.
Wait, are you able to get pancakes?
Silas, what's the
No, pancakes are not on there.
Like, could you get enough that they could chew?
almost don't need to see it all. I beat Silas for 100.
This is the last sandwich.
This is the last one. Potato chips. No, this is the last sandwich we're making. That was the question.
One more
We
thing.
got one more thing coming up. There's a reason I got a major in Bible and not math. Yeah.
I feel like Leslie's at a disadvantage here, so just add one more. Leslie's at a disadvantage here. I need a. And
whole complaint that you do that basic thing he loses. Because he has fun. So add another.
We added turkey.
So add like chocolate with cream or something.
No, I threw on the rest of the turkey, I think it was. Anybody want ham, almonds, and cheddar? Did you say me? That wasn't as impressive as I intended because I was aiming more towards the middle, but it worked. No! Most of the stuff came from our own refrigerators.
I just threw it away. I have steak cheese.
Yeah. It wasn't. I want to eat it.
Anybody want an apple? Who wants the apple?
I will. I'll take the chocolate whipped cream as a victory.
No.
Okay. Watch out. Wait, was it? Leslie, hey. I'm restraining him. I'm restraining him.
You guys ready?
Yes, go.
3, 2, 1, go. All this whipped cream. Make sure you're swallowing.
Yes, please. Please swallow it.
Alright, well, you guys both eat in 2 bites in 29 seconds, so we got that going for you. I guess I don't really need to time you if you guys.
Yeah, I guess not.
Lick it! Lick your plate! And lick your lip!
Winner! Based off licking the plate. Well done, Wesley. Did Rachel throw all the paper towels away? Yes, she did.
That was actually pretty good.
Since it's already open, I'm not throwing it, but if somebody wants some meat and cheese.
Can I have the whipped cream?
No, that's mine.
Where's like a napkin or something?
Rachel's working on it. Head towards the kitchen. We will collect the pens at the end. Also, please put the cap back on the pen. I got ink on my Nick Chubb jersey at the Super Bowl party because there was an open pen in the bunch. I'm very sad about that. Those are fancy napkins. That was abrupt. Again, that came from my own fridge. No. That did not come from my fridge. That came from my office. I mean, how good's your parents' insurance? I think about 500 people, there's only like 10 of you here, but about 500 times it's been asked if that they can have the whipped cream. The answer's still no. All right, so we'll be shifting into the talk. For those of you who've been here throughout, we've been working through Ruth, but even if this is your first time, we're gonna play a recap video, so hopefully you'll at least have the general idea of what the story of Ruth's about. And then Rachel will come up and take the mic.
Thank you. Boaz says here that this Redeemer will have to take Ruth as a wife, and the firstborn son will continue to name Leah and Mama, not his own. This will result in the child receiving the land as an inheritance, rather than this Redeemer's own children. The man realizes this and changes his mind. I cannot redeem it. I would not want to declare my own children's inheritance. Take my right of redemption for yourself. The man Ruth's claim was sufficient confirmation of the transaction. Boaz turns to the elders and declares, "You are witnesses that I bought the land from Naomi. I received Ruth as a wife to continue the name of her former husband, so that his name is not forgotten from his family of his homeland." The elders, along with others who are gathered, say, "We are witnesses." They then bless Boaz, declaring, "May you be renowned in Bethlehem and have many children." Boaz then marries Ruth, and the Lord blesses him with a son. The women of the town say to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord, for he has not forgotten you and has not abandoned you. This son shall be restored of life and take care of you in old age. For your daughter-in-law who loves you, worth more than 7 sons, has given birth to him." Naomi raises her grandson and cares for him. Then we gather and name Obed. This son became the father of Jesse, who fathered David, who was the king of Israel. This is really what Ruth knows. By the grace of God, this man of widow becomes the great, 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 great grandmother of Jesus.
All right, Rach, floor is yours. Mic's on.
Yay, Rachel!
And your mic's are up. Your screen.
Oh, yeah, I know it does. It does that. I don't know how to change that. Oops. Sorry. All right, so is this on? Can everybody hear me? Okay. I'm a very quiet speaker, so hopefully y'all can hear me. All right, so as we've seen the progression from Ruth 1 to the recap of Ruth 4, we're just going to quickly recap what Charlie talked about a couple weeks ago in Ruth chapter 3. So as Charlie so eloquently put it last week, Ruth shot her shot and basically proposed to Boaz and asked him to take her as his wife and to redeem her and Naomi and the family name. So as we saw in the end of chapter 3, Boaz wasn't necessarily opposed to this idea. You could tell there was some mutual affection between both of them. However, he was a man of good character, as we have seen throughout this entire story, and he wanted to do things the right way. And this leads us to the final chapter of Ruth. So I'm going to go ahead and read verses 1 through 6, and then we will get into our talk. So it reads, "Now Boaz had gone up to the gate and sat down there, and behold, the Redeemer of whom Boaz had spoken came by. So Boaz said, 'Turn aside, friend, sit down here.' And he turned aside and sat down. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, 'Sit down here as well.' So they sat down. Then he said to the Redeemer, 'Naomi, who has come back from the country of Moab, is selling the parcel of land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. So I thought I would tell you of it and say, buy it in the presence of those sitting here and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, redeem it. But if you will not, tell me, that I may know, for there is no one besides you to redeem it, and I come after you.' And he said, 'I will redeem it.' Then Boaz said, 'The day you buy the field from the hand of Naomi, you also acquire Ruth the Moabite, the widow of the dead, in order to perpetuate the name of the dead in his inheritance.' Then the Redeemer said, 'I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I impair my own inheritance. Take my right of redemption yourself, for I cannot redeem it.'" So we see this opening scene. Boaz is at the gate of the city with the elders and important members of the community. The gate of the city was usually where people met to complete business transactions and just figure out important matters amongst themselves. So we see him at this very important place to take care of this very important piece of business that needs to happen. So we see him address the closer relative to Ruth, who would become her redeemer. And basically this guy has, in modern terms, dibs on her. in the land that Naomi has to sell in order to survive herself. So we see at first that this man is interested when he's only aware of the fact that he's going to get some more land. Now, having land back in the day was very important. Most people were farmers. They raised animals, they raised crops for livelihood to either sell or to feed their families. So hearing that you're going to get a little bit more land was a pretty nice idea to this guy. And it would be to anyone most likely in those times. So he accepts it at first. However, this man becomes disinterested in the idea when he finds out that he will have to take Ruth as his wife. Now, most likely this man was already married, already had children. It'd be really awkward if he's like, hey, honey, guess what? I got some extra land, and oh, by the way, I have another wife. That'd be really, really awkward to come home and be like, hello, this is what's happening. And plus, this would interfere with what he would have gained in the future and what his children that he probably had at the time already would have inherited. So by taking Ruth as a wife, it would mess up all of his plans. So he ends up giving up his right to the land and to Ruth to Boaz. So as I was reading this and as I was looking at some commentaries and just thinking to myself as I was going through the passage, I was thinking, was it necessarily wrong that this man did not fulfill his duty as Ruth's redeemer? And nowhere in this story does it say it was the right or wrong choice. But by not, so it wasn't necessarily wrong for this man to give up his right to redeem Ruth. But by preserving all that he already had and trying to keep his future plans intact, he missed out on an even bigger future and being able to have a place in the plan and story of God's salvation that we see fulfilled in this story. So now I just want you to think to yourselves for a second. If you guys were to put yourself in this story, we have a few characters. We have Ruth, obviously she'll show up. Boaz has already showed up. We have this redeemer that is in the place before Boaz. And then we have, obviously, Naomi, and then we have the witnesses. So we have a few different key players. If we were to put ourselves in this story, we're most likely going to best fit the part of this man that gave up his right to redeem Ruth. Now, why am I saying that? So we as Christians, too, often determine how involved we are in ministry, whether it be church, whether it be youth group, whether it be D group, whether it be missions, whatever aspect of the church that we want to serve in or participate in, we tend to base it on the same scale that this very man used. And we say or think things to ourselves, well, will doing this fulfill me? Will participating in this really make me feel good or do anything for me? And we tend to think, what will I get out of it? And if I do participate in it, is it going to give me what I want? What's in it for me? And my friends, it's very hard for us to experience the true blessings of God or be able to be a blessing to others with this attitude and mindset. And we'll see later in this final chapter how this man truly missed out on a greater future and a greater inheritance and blessing. So now I'm going to read verses 7 through 12. Now this was the custom in former times in Israel concerning redeeming and exchanging. To confirm a transaction, the one drew off his sandal and gave it to the other, and this was the manner of attesting in Israel. So when the Redeemer said to Boaz, "Buy it for yourself," he drew off his sandal. Then Boaz said to the elders and all the people, "You are witness this day that I have bought from the hand of Naomi all that belonged to Elimelech, and all that belonged to Chilion and Mahlon. Also Ruth the Moabite, the widow of Mahlon, I have bought to be my wife, to perpetuate the name of the dead in his inheritance, that the name of the dead may not be cut off from among his brother and from the gate of his native place. You are witnesses this day." And then all the people who were at the gate and the elders said, "We are witnesses." May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your house like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the house of Israel. May you act worthily in Ephrathah and be renowned in Bethlehem. And may your house be like the house of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah, because of the offspring that God will give you by this young woman. All right. So we see the first Redeemer's response, and now we see Boaz's response. And we see that Boaz took a much different approach and a more sacrificial approach in regards to Ruth and her family. So he completes the rightful transaction, again, by a very odd custom that we would not think normal, by taking off his shoe and giving it to the other man to make it official that he will redeem Ruth. And it's important that he did it in front of the witnesses. In turn, the witnesses gave him their blessing. Now, the witnesses at this time might not have realized how important this blessing from them is, but this blessing from them is important to look at because it takes a look backwards as well as forwards. And what I mean by that, the themes of this blessing that the witnesses give to Boaz for redeeming Ruth go all the way back to God's covenant promise, which Charlie has brought up several times, this promise that God made with Abraham back in Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. And I'm just going to read that as a reminder for us. It reads, "Now the Lord said to Abraham, 'Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you, and I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and him who dishonors you I will curse, and in all of your families of the earth shall be blessed.'" So we see later in this story, Ruth herself, who is a Gentile convert, is a fulfillment of this promise. And we will see this in the last verses, as her offspring will be in the line of an even greater blessing that is to come in the New Testament. And I think we can all attest that it is Jesus, but I'm not quite at that point yet. But we'll see, all of this is ultimately pointing to Jesus. So I'm going to read the last verses, which is verses 13 through 22. So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife, and he went into her, and the Lord gave her conception, and she bore a son. Then the woman said to Naomi, "Blessed be the Lord, who has not left you this day without a redeemer, and may his name be renowned in Israel. He shall be to you a restorer of life, and a nourisher of your old age, for your daughter-in-law who loves you, who is more to you than 7 sons, has given to him." Then Naomi took the child and laid him on her lap and became his nurse. And the woman of the neighborhood gave him a name, saying, "A son has been born to Naomi." They named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, who was the father of David. Now these are the generations of Perez. Perez fathered Hezron. Hezron fathered Ram. Ram fathered Amminadab. Amminadab fathered Nahshon. Nahshon fathered Salmon. Salmon fathered Boaz. Boaz fathered Obed. Obed fathered Jesse. And Jesse fathered David. So as we read these final verses and just kind of the completion of this story of Ruth, we see Boaz and her are able to get married. They're able to have a son. This love story kind of comes through fruition. But we see this as an even greater love story and what this story points to in the Gospels. And we see in these final verses that God's hand is over all of history. God works out his purpose for generation from generation, and because our lifetimes are so short, we don't really get to see all that happens throughout these genealogies, even in modern times. So a genealogy, which is the last few verses of this book, is a striking way of bringing before us the continuity of God's purpose through the ages. And the process of history is not crazy or haphazard. It's planned and it's perfect in its design. So there is a purpose in it all, and that purpose is ultimately the purpose of God. And so even from way back in the beginning, when Naomi is returning to Bethlehem from Moab. We see that the roots of David, King David, are in Bethlehem, and this goes back to Ruth and Boaz. And this is why Joseph and Mary had to go back to Bethlehem to register in the census of Augustus all the way forward in Luke chapter 2. So Ruth and Boaz are kind of the reason why Jesus was born in Bethlehem. So that's just kind of a fun little connection there. But we don't really see, or we don't really think of Jesus until we read the ending verse when we read King David, because we know that Jesus is in the line of King David. But Jesus isn't just here at the end of this story. He has been through this entire book, and we see him clearly pictured in the representation of Boaz, and Boaz as the kinsman redeemer to Ruth. So Boaz points to Jesus as the perfect kinsman redeemer, and I'm just going to read some reasons why that we can just think about when we go from here as we finish up this book. So we know that the kinsman redeemer had to be a family member, had to be related. Jesus added humanity to his eternal personhood so that he could be our kinsman and save us. We see this in him becoming a baby, coming down to earth as a human, and dwelling among other humans. We see the kinsman redeemer had the duty of buying family members out of slavery. Jesus redeems us from slavery to sin and death by going to the cross and purchasing us with his perfect blood. The kinsman redeemer had the duty of buying back land that had been forfeited, and Jesus will and is redeeming the earth back to himself that mankind sold over to Satan when we fell in the garden and God gave dominion of the earth over to Satan. Boaz, as kinsman redeemer to Ruth, was not motivated by self-interest, but motivated by love for Ruth. And Jesus' motivation for redeeming us is his great love for us. And now we have to take into consideration, Ruth didn't do anything special to deserve Boaz's love. She was a foreigner from a different land. She was a woman in that time, and she was widowed. Same with us. There's nothing that we can do or be that would motivate Jesus to want us or love us more than just the fact that he does love us. And we also see Boaz, as kinsman redeemer to Ruth, had to have a plan in place to redeem Ruth unto himself. And some of the people that saw this might have thought it was kind of funny. Not exactly sure, it doesn't say, but Jesus also has a plan to redeem us. And a lot of people thought that was foolish. People thought he was crazy, that some man would just go to a cross and die for absolutely no reason other than the fact that it was obviously to save us. But people, they weren't aware of that at the time. But we see that that plan works and that it was a glorious plan. Sorry, there's a lot of these. All right, three more. Boaz, as kinsman redeemer to Ruth, provided a glorious destiny for Ruth by giving her safety and protection and a family and just a wonderful life with him. Jesus is our redeemer, provides a glorious destiny for us by giving us eternity with him forever. And we see that all of this comes back to the idea of Jesus as being the perfect kinsman redeemer. That is why he had to become a man. God could have sent an angel to save us, but the angel would not have been our kinsman because angels and humans are not the same. Angels are not human. And Jesus, in his eternal glory, without the addition of becoming human in his divine nature, probably could have been able to save us, but he wouldn't have been our kinsman. He wouldn't have fully understood what it meant to be human, but he did. And God could have sent a great prophet or a priest that could have been our kinsman, but because a prophet and a priest are not perfect and they're human and have their own sin, it would have disqualified them from being our Redeemer. Only Jesus, the eternal God who added humanity to himself in his eternal deity, can be both the kinsman and Redeemer for mankind, and that's what makes him the perfect kinsman redeemer for us. And we see that from the beginning of eternity, God planned to bring Ruth and Boaz together and thus make Bethlehem his entrance point for the coming of Jesus as our true kinsman redeemer, fully God and fully man. So that's what I have on Ruth 4, but before I end, and I will end quickly because I know we're running out of time, I'm just going to read a brief part of this commentary. I'm sad these aren't my own words, but I don't want to plagiarize, so we're just going to go ahead and read this. And this kind of encapsulates chapters 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4 of this story. And I just want you to think about this as I'm reading it, as a challenge for us, myself included. But it reads, Ruth has come a long way in this book. She has gone from being an outcast and a stranger, the one whose existence Naomi herself would scarcely acknowledge, to becoming the wife of an upstanding citizen, the great-great-grandmother of Israel's future king, and the daughter-in-law who is recognized as being better than 7 sons. Yet she first found a welcome from Boaz and from God while she was still a complete outsider. Can people like Ruth find a similar welcome in our churches and in our homes? Are there places where the last, the least, and the lost can come without feeling looked down upon? Are our churches safe places where people whose lifestyles are notorious in the community can come without being stared at and judged? Is there any danger of our fellowship being known as that church where all those sinners go? Or are we good only at welcoming those who already somewhat get religion, those who at least in some measure already speak the language of the church community and whose faces already fit in? There is a serious challenge here for each of us to ponder, not just for pastors and church leaders. Each one of us has a role to play in what people feel when they come through our church doors and into our communities. Will we welcome them? Will anyone sit with them or speak to them afterwards? Will someone make them feel special, important, wanted, no matter how messy their lives are? Will you make them feel like a person of eternal worth and value? That is what Ruth did for Naomi. When Naomi was at her lowest after losing her husband and her 2 sons, Ruth made it clear that she was bound to her forever and nothing could ever tear her away. It is what Boaz did for Ruth. He demonstrated publicly that he found her a valuable human being, even though she was a Moabite widow. More fundamentally, though, this is what the Lord did for each of them. He is the Redeemer behind the human Redeemer in Ruth and Naomi's story, and he is ultimately that for us. And so, friends, you have 2 choices when you come in contact with a so-called Ruth in your life. You can be like the man who gave up his blessing by seeking his own comfort and wants and not taking on Ruth or giving her dignity. Or you can be like Boaz and even more so like Jesus and welcome them into the fold of God's people by being a blessing to all the nations, and in turn you will receive the greatest blessing of all, Jesus Christ himself. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you again for this night. Thank you for everyone that was able to come and play funny, crazy games, and ultimately hear your word. Lord, as we wrap up this story of Ruth, even though it's 4 chapters, these 4 chapters point to an even greater story, which is the story of your son Jesus, who came to be our kinsman redeemer and bring us to himself. Lord, I pray that as we leave here tonight and as we go into our weeks, that we would not just think of this as another youth group talk, but that we would take to heart the message that this chapter has for us, that we would recognize that you are our true Redeemer and that you have bought us and that you have fulfilled your covenant promise with Abraham and you're continuing to do so. I pray that you will continue to fulfill those promises and that in turn we can be a blessing to those around us, whether they're the people that we see every day or the people that might be new in our circle of life, but that we would welcome them and love them and introduce them to the greatest blessing that they could ever experience, which is you. I pray all of this in your holy name. Amen.
Hey, Rachel!
Every time. I don't understand.
All right, it is 7:30, so that's all we got for y'all this week, but feel free to hang out. We're not gonna kick you out right away. For those of you who joined us online, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you guys back in person soon when you guys are comfortable, but hopefully online's working out for y'all. But we'll be right back here next week. We'll be taking a break from Ruth and Esther for a couple weeks, but yeah, we hope to see you back here. It'll be in March Madness theme. But just like the Super Bowl party, you don't gotta love sports to have fun. Worst things worse, you will see me get hit in the head with something. So we look forward to seeing everyone next week. And yeah, feel free to stick around. I could not figure out that link.